Alright folks, here we go again. We recently posted up a drum wrap instruction video, but I wanted to do another one featuring our low-cost drum wrap collection. The difference between the low-cost collection and our standard selection of drum wrap are a few. The regular collection of drum wrap has a selection of 222 standard finishes in addition to unlimited custom finishes at no extra cost. The low-cost collection that you see here is limited to currently 35 different finishes. That's difference number one. Difference number two, the standard selection, our standard collection of drum wrap, the thickness is between 20 and 35 mil. And it's available in both a very flexible, super easy to install, extra durable variety, as well as a traditional, stiff, regular variety. This here low-cost collection is 15 mils thick. So it's a little thinner than even the thinnest variety of the standard selection, and you can see it's thin, it's 15 mil. Usually factory drum wrap that you get on an entry-level drum is about 20 mils thick. This is a bit thinner, which doesn't affect performance or durability in any way. Actually, it might even have some advantages for the people that do believe that wrapping drums will have an effect on the sound compared to a lacquered drum, or that wrapping drums with this adhesive strip method will affect the sound rather than full adhesion. Of course, if this is true, I don't necessarily subscribe to that because my ears can't hear a difference, but maybe some people have more sensitive ears than me. But if you do subscribe to that, then obviously a thinner wrap, having less mass, is going to have a thinner impact on the sound, if there is even any impact to the sound. The other advantage is too that even though this is made the traditional method, in other words what yields a stiff wrap, because it's thinner, it still has a pretty good flexibility, which helps a lot in the installation process, and also helps it be less prone to cracking or kinking or creasing. So those are the differences between this low-cost wrap and our standard drum wrap. The biggest reason, of course, is the price. Oh, there is one more difference, the sizes. Our regular drum wrap is available in sizes that fit every standard drum shell, from like pre-cut that comes to you ready for anything from an 8-inch diameter drum to a 26-inch diameter drum. To keep the cost down of this, we only produce it in 5 different strategic sheet sizes, but they're very well thought through, so those sheet sizes work very well. You can, for instance, order a big sheet that's long enough that in one sheet cover your bass drum, and a smaller, and that will do like the bass drum and the snare drum, and then a smaller sheet will do your toms. And you can literally wrap an entire drum kit with this drum wrap for $120 for the cost of the wrap. That's how low cost we made it. We haven't made any sacrifices in terms of quality. In fact, you'll find that this wrap is very similar to what is considered regular standard drum wrap, whether it comes that way from the factory that your drums came from or from some of the other drum wrap manufacturers. This wrap is made in the same way and very much resembles it, except it's a wee bit thinner, which, as I mentioned, might actually be an advantage rather than a disadvantage. But that's of course up to an individual opinion. So I just wanted to go ahead, and even though I just recently posted up a installation instruction video, I'll just do another one. This here is a 14-inch floor tom from a PDP 805. This one's in pretty good shape, but some of the other drums have some battle scars in the lacquer, which is why we're rewrapping it. And as usual, the first thing I do is figure out where are we going to put the seam. These 2 holes here are where the badge goes, so we want the seam on the opposite side, probably somewhere over here. There's a bracket and a vent hole here, so we could line up the seam with the bracket and the vent hole, or we could line it up with one of the lug lines. I usually like to line it up with one of the lug lines, so that's what I'm going to do, and in this case I'm going to put it on this one, right here. Oh, forgot. I've done a couple of things prior to making the video. I've cut this out of one of those strategic sheet sizes that I mentioned. I've cut it to the a 1/2 inch total less width than the depth of the shell, so we get a 1/4 inch cut back on each side. And I have applied a strip of double-sided tape. The best tape that I find to use is the stuff that you find in the flooring department of your home improvement center, and then cut it lengthwise so it's only half as wide as it comes on the roll. It's very strong, quite cheap, and very easy to get a hold of. So, without further ado, let's go ahead. This is my usual method. If you've watched my other videos, you know how I do this. Repetition never hurts though. So I start with holding it in place and finding roughly a somewhat straight alignment, and hold it with a couple of these handy little clips. And as I mentioned in another video, if you don't have these clips, and if someone in your family or you or your wife like to hang laundry the old-fashioned way on a clothesline, you can use clothespins, clothes pegs, clothespins, laundry hangers, whatever they're called. I don't actually know. It's been so long since anyone in my family used them, but yeah, that's a possibility. So if you lined it up straight to begin with, I've done this a lot of times. Don't expect that this is going to line up like this the first time, because it rarely does. And even for me, this happens very rarely. It just happens that in the last 2 videos I've made, it's lined up perfectly the first time. Caution number 1. If it doesn't line up perfectly, don't be tempted to adjust it on this side to make it line up. You will end up with an ugly bubble that will be very, very visible when you put the lugs in place. Rather, release it, roll it back, release one of the clamps, and then adjust a little bit and roll it back up again. The good thing with this installation method is you can take your time, do this as many times as needed until you get it straight. But do not be tempted to force alignment at the end. You will regret it. I know it saves you a lot of time and you might be eager to get that drum wrap, but trust me, you will regret it. You will see an ugly, unsightly bubble that only gets worse with time, not better. Once I've once I've clamped it in place with the second pair of clamps, I roll around the shell once again. Now, I mentioned before, I can't do that in this video because then you guys won't be able to see what I do, but usually when I get up to about this size, this is a 14 inch and larger, 14, 16, and then the bass drums. Instead of doing this on the table, I do this in my lap sitting on a sofa, and that way I can put my knee in the center and use that as an extra hand, and also that way I don't have to lift it to clear the clamps from the table surface. And then you just kind of roll it again like that, and usually there'll be a little bit of slack that you can take up, and you roll it forward and then release the clamps to let that excess slack out of the wrap. I'm going to do that one more time. It never hurts. Again, with this method you can certainly take your time and make sure you get a fantastic results every time. I'm going to post up a video one of these days on how to easily do the full adhesion with contact cement, but that'll be for another day. The next time I have some drums around that need a wrap job, I'll do that. Because I do have a foolproof way of doing that as well, and that is by no means a foolproof procedure. So I think we can be pretty pleased with that. It's lined up straight, and there is no air gaps or slack. So next, I'm going to have to give myself a little bit of space, so I move these 2 clamps back a little bit so I can lift this end, so I can peel back the liner, the backing, on the adhesive strip, double-sided tape. Fingernails would be handy for this, but you get the picture. It's doable. Hold it up and peel it back. Now let me tilt this sideways so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to use this hand, my right hand, to hold it really firmly in place on this side and keep it from sticking until I'm ready to. And then with this hand, I pull it really tight one more time, and then roll it down and allow it to stick in the center only. Okay? Then we're going to move outward on this side, and then finally on this side. And you know, it's a total fluke that the wood grain actually almost aligns here as well. That's unusual as well and totally a fluke, but of course it's going to happen now and then. And there you have it. It's that simple. This is our low-cost drum wrap. With this drum wrap, it's every bit as beautiful as any other drum wrap. Some might find this wood grain a bit boring, but our low-cost collection features a whole bunch of wood grains, a glitter, a sparkle, and some wacky stuff, and you know, a mix of designs, 35 different finishes to choose from. I love the wood grains myself. They are so, I don't know, calming, soothing. So there we have it. That's all there is to it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Click the subscribe link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and visit our website. And when you do wrap some drums of your own, please email us pictures. It's really hard to get people to send pictures of the drums that they wrap, and I understand that. It takes time out of your day, but if you can email me some pictures, we really appreciate it, and we will put them on the gallery on our website and possibly feature them on our Facebook page as well. Hope you guys find this video useful. I look forward to hearing back from you guys. Enjoy!